Yes, I think we can get started. Yes, today's webinar is about the fixed asset management. Welcome to our webinar on fixed asset management in NetSuite. My name is Avilas Mantriari, and I am NetSuite functional consultant with 7 years of experience in ERP implementation, process optimization, and financial system automation. At VNMT, we are specialized in working closely with finance and operation teams to translate business needs into scalable NetSuite solutions. I have fortunate to support clients across various industries, helping them unlock the full potentials of NetSuite, particularly in areas of fixed asset management, procure to pay, order to cash, demand planning, manufacturing. About VNMT, VNMT is a globally recognized NetSuite and Siligo partner. We do end-to-end implementation, customization, support, and we also support clients across different industries and various regions. Sorry. VNMT works with leading partners and clients globally with proven methodology, scalable and driven by real world experience. Coming to fixed asset management. Fixed asset management is a module in NetSuite that helps recognize the recognition of organizations' assets to track, manage, and depreciate fixed assets throughout their life cycle. So today's agenda for fixed asset management would be creation of asset types, depreciation methods, creation of assets. Creation of assets can be manual creation or creation of assets through the transactions. It can be a purchase order, bills, and journal entries. And then we would be saying asset depreciation, asset disposal, and few of the standard reports and save searches on assets by NetSuite. So the first topic would be the creation of asset types. So creation of asset types are nothing but group of assets where you can club all assets together into one asset type. It can be a land and building, or it can be a furniture, it can be computer equipments, it can be a furniture. Let me take you through the NetSuite where we can show you how to create and manage the asset types in NetSuite, for which we need to navigate to fixed assets, transaction or list, setup, and asset types. So we have already created few of them. So I can just open one for you. So we can just create, if you want to create a new, you can go through a new, and where you need to specify the name of the asset type. It can be a computer or it can be a building, land and building, where you can group the asset types and you can specify the description of the asset type. And then coming to the accounting method, we have few standard NetSuite provided accounting method, like the depreciation method. It can be a decline method, straight line method, WDV method, and some Japanese depreciation methods, which are over here. But you can select the depreciation method that can be applicable for these particular asset types. And then we have a residual value.
Sorry, Abhi, sorry to interrupt. You have a question. Utej, I think.
Yes, Utej.
Hi, Vilash. I'm Utej. So
Yeah,
just to
Utej.
ask a question, like when you say fixed management asset, like it's a computer, right? So it's nothing but an inventory, like we can say like non-inventory, which is in our organization. How different it is, like non-inventory item to fixed asset? Are we going to link that particular non-inventory item to this asset type record?
Uh, So for you, the fixed asset management, it only captures the assets which are in the office and which we use for the internal purposes for more than an year. It can be a land and building, but land and building and furnitures, but the inventory item that you use is for sale. So where you do a sales, we create an inventory asset, and where we use it for our internal purposes, and it can be for the long life of an asset, that would be a non-inventory.
Okay.
Yes. So we have different accounting methods. You can just select the accounting method over here whenever you create an asset type. And the residual value percentage is nothing but the value at the end of its fixed assets lifetime. So it can be a value that can have for an asset after its lifetime. So it can be a 1% or 10%, whatever the value that the percentage value that you provide for an asset, that would specify it on the fixed asset. And then
Oh,
coming to the asset lifetimes, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, nothing of this. I just say thanks.
And then coming to the asset lifetime, so every asset has its lifetime as per the accounting rules. So you need to specify the asset lifetime. It should be in the months. So you can specify whatever the months the asset gets asset lifetime it is. And if you're leasing any assets that you brought as a lease, then you can check this box for lease assets. And then we have a general tab where you can just check the depreciation actives. So here we have true, false, and on project completion. If you want to run the depreciation for all these asset types, whenever you create any asset and an asset type is selected, you can just select the true so that it would run the depreciation for those assets. And for the false, if you don't want to run any depreciation for the asset that have been created in the system, you can just select the false so that it won't run the depreciation for the assets. And then we have the project completion where you can run or create the fixed assets and run the depreciation as on when the project gets completed. And we have include and report checkbox where you can just check this box so that it can be included in the reports whenever there is a depreciation and fixed assets created in the systems. And then coming to revision rules, we have current period and remaining life. So these are two different revision rules in the system where the current period would define the depreciation of the asset. To date is recalculated using the revised values. And the difference between the calculated depreciated and previously posted depreciated is entered in the current period. And coming to the next, remaining life. The remaining life depreciation revision applies to the asset from the point forward. So the revision only affects the future depreciation calculations. And the custodian, these are not the mandatory, but if anyone want to specify, or the custodian can be specified for any particular group of assets. So this custodian can look after them. And the supplier, if you are buying from any one supplier of this type of asset, you can specify the supplier or you can leave it as blank. And the disposal item. So disposal item is like whenever you purchase and after its lifetime you want to sell or dispose or write off of this particular asset type, you can just select the disposal item, whether it can be a write-off or sale. And then coming to the financial year start, you can just select when the financial year starts according to your jurisdiction. You can just select the financial year. And then we maps the accounts over here. It can be asset account, depreciation charge expense account, write-off, write-down, and disposal cost accounts. And to the next, maintenance, we have maintenance where you can just check this box, inspection, and specify the periods in months. And same goes for the warranty, where you can just check this box and specify what the warranty period for this particular type of asset types. So I'll just show you the one that have been created. So this is an asset type where I have created with the name called computer equipments with straight line depreciation method and residual value with 0% and its lifetime is 12 months. Where I have also provided all the details along with the accounts mapping. So this was about creation of assets. And coming to the depreciation methods. So we have different types of different depreciation methods that would be supported in NetSuite, but there are few standard depreciation method that would be available in the system. Those are standard line method, declining method, sum of digital years method, custom methods, and written down value method. So to view all the standard depreciation methods, you can just navigate to fixed assets, setup, and depreciation method. So these are all the standard methods that are available in the system. But if you want to create a new depreciation method that would be applicable, or you don't find any of the depreciation methods in the list, you can just click on new depreciation method and you can name the depreciation method and you can provide the description of this, and then you have a period whether it should be a monthly, annually, or annually depreciating but monthly posting. And then we have a depreciation formula. So here are the operators, symbols, and functions where you can use them and create the formula. So whenever you once you create the formula using this, then you can just save the depreciation method and this can be run or locate. It can be run on the fixed assets, or you can just select on the fixed asset types. Yes, Jay, go ahead.
Sorry to step in. So with the method itself, depends on which country we are operating. There would be some standard based on Australia and New Zealand created by NetSuite itself, right?
Right.
Okay, good.
So here, generally we use standard straight line method and WDV methods and decline methods. So we have all them together over here. But if you are having some different depreciation method, then you can create them.
Okay, makes sense. Thanks.
Yes. So this was about the depreciation methods, and coming to asset creation. So we can create assets. It can be a manual creation of asset uh, where we get in midlife access from the legacy system to NetSuite. And there is another possible way of doing is whenever you brought in any asset, it can be through purchase orders or you have entered any vendor bills and journal entries. You can get them on the fixed asset model through a creation of assets. So for which we can navigate to fixed assets, transactions, and asset proposal. Here you can just provide the date range from which date range you are looking for the transaction that needs an asset proposal to run. So I would give it as 1 year, and then you can just select the subsidiary. The subsidiary is a multi-select field. You can just select any number of subsidiaries, or if you want to run all together, you can just check this include children checkbox and then
Sorry,
select.
Abhi.
Yep.
Sorry to step in. There is a question that we have received in the team message. The question is generally asset type like land does not get depreciated. In such case, how the depreciation method works in NetSuite?
Asset types like land doesn't get depreciated. In such cases, how depreciation method works. So if you don't want any depreciation to be happened on the land, then you can just run with a zero depreciated value where it doesn't run the depreciation, but it can be a fixed asset.
Okay, I think that answers the question. Nourish, if you have, yeah, that's all good. Thank you. We can move forward.
Yes. And then we need to select the asset types. So if you are willing to propose assets of any computer equipment, just you select the computer equipments as an asset type. And there, if you want to run for all or not more than, if you want to run more than one, you can just select the asset types over here and then click on propose new assets. So once you click on the propose new asset, it take you to the FM process page where you can see the status. It runs in the background to verify all the transactions that have been created in the system. So based on the account setup, it captures the transactions. So once you're done with the asset proposal, you would navigate to check the page where you can see manage asset proposal, where you can see all the transactions. So I have managed proposals for computers and furnitures, and I want to run it for all the subsidiaries. Yes. So here are the bills where you have the like all the computers and furnitures, all the assets of those type and the vendor bills against those. So you
So,
can just
uh,
select. Yes,
Abhi,
go
sorry
ahead.
to step in. We have a question from Abhi.
Yes, Ramprata.
Aram
Ramprata, you're
Pratap,
on
you're
mute.
on mute.
Sorry. Just one query from my side. Does FAM support multi-booked application for companies with multiple accounting standards?
Yes, FM support. It supports multiple books.
Okay, cool.
One
And
more
we
from my,
have,
yeah, go for
sorry.
it. Sorry.
Yes, we have an option where you can run the depreciation as per the accounting standards, and we can run the depreciation as per the tax audit purpose. So we have an option where we can run both. Yes, Jay, go ahead.
For multi-structure subsidiary, if one asset is being used by two different entities, um, that can be depreciated as a partial to each individual.
Yes, so we have an asset transfer concept where we can transfer the subsidiary between the
Mhm.
subsidiary. Like you can make it if there are two quantities that
Yep.
have been used within the subsidiary, you can transfer between one each and then run the depreciation.
Okay, cool. We got another question from Rajkumar. What is the difference between fixed asset management and the amortization? Amortization is a separate module in NetSuite or is included in the same?
Yes, the fixed asset module, it relates to all the assets which are run generally for more than which are kept in the business for more than 1 year, which can be used internally. And amortization is a income where we can run amortization schedules for them, but it includes both the sales. It not only includes the fixed asset, but also it includes the sales. But it has a separate module for it, amortization, where you can run for all the invoices.
Thank you. I think that answer the question. Rajkumar, if you have any other, please feel free to drop a message.
Yeah. So once we
Sorry, Abhi, before we go ahead, we have one more from Uttej. Are we selecting asset account in transaction rather than item? So it's auto detecting in the proposal.
yes, Utesh, we have two options where you can either select as an account or you can also select as an item. I can show you one for you. So if you consider this bill, so this bill contains of one as an expense where you are directly mapping the account and the other as an item where an item is mapped with the same fixed asset account. So in this way, you can run the proposal based on the accounts as well as for the items. I think this answers your question.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. Yes. So here we have all the transactions in the system that were created. And if you see here, we have a quantity as 4. And if you want to split them, you have an option to split so that the system creates each individual fixed asset for all together. Instead of creating one asset for 4 quantity, you can split them and create individual assets. So to do that, you can just click on split, where it takes you to a proposal split, and you can specify the cost and then the quantity over here. So once I enter the quantity and click on add, the remaining quantity decreases, as you can see here. So if you want to run all together, like you can add all, or if you want to make a merge of any two, you can just do this. So that, and then you can just click on split. So the so once you run the split values, it runs in the background and then creates each individual. Yep, it has got completed. And if you look, let me just refresh this page. And now you see this has been, mm, yeah. So all the bills was made, the quantity has been split together within the assets. And to run and create, you can just select the transaction, whichever you feel that it has to create assets in the fixed asset management. You can just select the transactions and click on generate asset. So it runs in the background and creates assets. So it has for 2 stages, where first it takes the values of all the bills so that it can be defined on the assets, and then it runs the depreciation schedules. And later, once the asset proposal is done, then we have an asset creation, where you can just select the date range. As already mentioned in the previous, you can just select any one subsidiary. If you want to include all, then you can just select the include children checkbox and then select the asset type. So before running this, I just wanted to show you the count of assets in the system. So here the total count is 21. And once I run the asset creation, whatever how like whatever the transaction that have been selected and gone through the manage proposal page, those assets would be created in the system. So I just click on create assets. Yes, it got completed. And if I refresh the page, this has not been done. The assets have been created. So asset proposal page creates the assets. And if you want to look at the FAM, where you can just view the bills.
Sorry to step in, Abhi.
Yes.
There is some concern with from Raj Kumar. Looks like the screen sharing is lagging. Is it only for me or all? I think it's specific. I think it's for you, Raj Kumar, because I can see it quite good. Anyone else facing the same issue?
No.
No.
Okay, cool. Unfortunately, Raj Kumar, I think it's maybe your internet connection is not stable. Sorry, you can go ahead, Abhi. Thanks.
So you can see FAM has been created with all the details from the transaction, like the subsidiary and the currency, with the purchase date, and you can see the vendor bill linked to it. So these are the vendor bills that would be linked on the FAM module, and also you can view the accounts that are mapped if there are any insurance that would be auto linked from the bills. And if you want to provide, you can also just click on edit. And if you want to make any changes like the asset lifetime or the depreciation method, you can make the changes. But these are auto populated based on the asset types. So in the first stage, we have seen the asset types where we have mapped all the residual value and the depreciation methods as a lifetime. So this all comes from the asset type. So if you want to make any changes, you can make the changes on asset lifetime or depreciation period. And if you want to start depreciating the asset, you can change the date over here. So the end date would be calculated based on the asset lifetime. So if you change this to 21, the end date would also be changed. And make sure that if you want to run depreciation, that the depreciation active should be true and the others can be as it is, so that the depreciation would be running. But if you make it as false, it won't run the depreciation for these particular assets. Yes, I hope everything is clear. So once this is done, you can run the depreciation. So this is how we create assets in the system and NetSuite. Like it can be a manual creation or it can be created through the transactions. And coming to asset depreciation, we would be seeing how to depreciate assets. It can run based on, as I said, it can run based on monthly, annually, but can be posted to monthly. And then we will look into the books of assets, how the assets gets depreciated. So for running depreciation, you can just navigate to fixed assets, transactions, asset depreciation, and then you can just select the asset type for which asset type you want to run the depreciation. So here we have you can have a multi-selection field where you can run all together, or if you want to run for one particular asset type, you can just select the asset type. And same way you can just select the subsidiary. If you want to select for all together, you have an option, or if you have a multi subsidiary that needs to be selected, you can also do that.
Sorry to step in, Abhi. We have a question from Kushan that can you upload a batch of assets?
Yes, we can do that. So if you want to uh, create assets from legacy system to the NetSuite, we have an option where we can import them. And if you want to create a new assets, you can do that, but you need to link the transaction numbers so that it can be reflected on the fixed assets.
I
I
think
hope this
that's
answers. Yep. And then you can just select the accounting books as Ram Pratap, as you can see, if there are multiple accounting books, you have an option where you can select over here to run the depreciation for the assets.
Okay, got it.
and you can just select the depreciation period for which month you want to run. So I'm selecting 31st May, and you can specify the reference. So it can be May 25 depreciation, and then click on depreciate asset. So it runs in the background with 7 stages. One, it recalculate the asset value and then create the journal entries. Then it updates on the asset record with the depreciated value, which is cumulative depreciation with the net book value. And then it uploads the depreciation schedules. So it has been completed. Let me just go back to the asset. Just check. Furnitures. Okay. Let me just rerun the depreciation. For furniture. Yes. Now you can see depreciation has taken place for these particular assets, and the cumulative depreciation was depreciated with 475, and net book value got decreased from 6,000. And to view the depreciation journal entries, you can navigate to depreciation history and check for the depreciation history. Where
Sorry to step in. We got a question from Shubham.
yes, Shubham.
Yeah, hi Abhi. So what is the process for selling an asset after it is fully depreciated?
Yes, I'll be coming to the topic after this, Shubham.
Yeah,
Yes. So once you, if you want to see the journals that have been posted for the depreciation, you can just click on to view the journal entry that has been posted, where it specify the depreciation with 672 and expenses, and this would be the asset that got impacted. So this is how the jail impact looks, and this is how we run the depreciation based on the asset types and the accounting books. So this is how we run the depreciation. And coming to next is asset disposal. So Shubham, coming to your answer. So you can dispose the asset. It can be a sale of an asset, and it can be a write-off where you would like to write off any particular asset where doesn't fetch any value. So you can do those two. So we would see them in NetSuite how to run the disposal for two of the assets. So if you want to dispose this particular asset, what you can do is you can just navigate to fixed assets, transactions, and asset disposal. So here you have two types. As I said previously, it can be a sale and it can be a write-off. So if you want to sell the asset, you can specify as a sale. And when you are selling, you can just specify at what date you are selling it. And you can just select the customer, and then select the item. So this item can be a non-inventory item where you can just select them, the item. So whenever a sale is made, this item would be appearing on the invoices. And if there is any tax that would be applicable there, you can just select the tax. And then select the asset that you want to sell. Select the asset and specify the quantity and the sale amount. So if you want to sell it for 6,000, the whatever the amount, the purchase value, as it has already got depreciated, but if you want to sell it for the profit, you can specify the amount, or if you want to sell it for loss, you can specify the amount. Whatever the amount you're selling it, you can just specify. But I want to make a profit out of selling this asset, so I would definitely give it as a positive value. And if you want to sell multiple, sorry, I missed the location field. So from which location it is going out, you can just specify the location. And if you want to sell multiple assets, you can just click on add and add the fixed assets over here. So in this way, you can add multiple assets for selling, and you have consolidated line items on invoice. So if you want to consolidate all the assets in one on only one invoices, you can check this box so that it can be created one invoice instead of creating multiple, and it can be consolidated. So once you are okay with the process and done with all the values, you can just click on dispose. So it just check the values and run the backend process like creating invoices and changing the asset values on the asset record.
Sorry to step in, Avi. Shubham got a question.
Yes, Shubham.
Yeah, so I have one more question. See, if you add a parts to a fixed asset that increase its useful life, so how do we can manage in the NetSuite?
Sorry, can you repeat that, Shubham?
Yeah, yeah. If we change any parts in the fixed asset, then it will increase its useful
Yeah,
life. Then how do we manage it in
yes.
NetSuite?
We have an option where we can revalue the assets, and then we can change the asset value, asset lifetime, and then rerun the asset depreciation from there. So
Okay,
here we
thanks,
have an
Abhi.
option like where we can asset revaluation, where you can revalue the assets. And let me go back to that particular asset where I have run the disposal for this. Now you can see the status, which was depreciating, now changed to disposal, and cumulative balance was as the cost value. And if you want to look at the invoices that would be generated, you can view under asset sales and disposal, where you can see the disposal item and the customer name, the date of sale, and the amount along with the invoice. And if you want to just view the invoice, you can just click on the invoice document number over here, and you would be seeing all the details like so the sale of an asset with the value, and if there is any tax that would be applicable when you
Um,
select
need to
that.
need to
Go
step
ahead.
in here, Abhi. We got a question in the message. If you can touch base on
Yes.
that.
What is the best approach to migrate fixed assets that are midlife from legacy system to NetSuite? How can we accurately account? Yes, uh, we can import them. So we have templates for this where we do migrations from legacy system to NetSuite with midlife assets, and with specific templates you can add on all the details so that once we import them and then we run the asset evaluation, asset values in the backend, and then run the depreciation for those kind of assets. I hope that answers your question, Rajkumar. Okay, thank you. Okay, so this is how the invoice is created, and it gives you all the details of what the disposal. And coming to the next, we have standard reports that is provided by NetSuite. And if you want to generate any report, you can generate. And there are a few save searches on fixed assets. So for which we can navigate to fixed assets reports where you can generate your own reports. And there are searches provided by NetSuite. If you want to look any additions, you can just click on additions where you can view the assets which are added to. And if you want to see the list of disposals, it provides you the list of all the disposals. So this was about the standard reports and save searches. And here we also have few other like the asset split and asset transfer, where you can transfer the asset between one subsidiary or the one location to the other location. And we have asset split where if you have brought the assets in a bulk and you want to create them as an individual asset, you can do that by an asset split. And asset revaluation where there is a repairs and where the asset cost has gone up, so you can do an asset revaluation for the same. So this was about the fixed asset management. So if you have any question, you can just let me know. Thank you.